occasional issues with my internet service provider not providing in a fashion that I would like. Okay, I do think, though, that we're running. Let me take a look here. Yeah, everything seems good. Now, I do not have video on today. I'm having some webcam issues, but that's okay. We're here for a build, and you can see the build just fine. I will try to keep an eye on the stream, and hopefully it won't go dead on me, right? Last night it did. Last night the stream did go dead on me, froze up and faltered and failed. Now, today right now, I'm going to start this up. Whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself here because what you just saw there with the columns disappearing, that's part of the problem with this build. This is a really old build. This is the Cassidine estate. This is Daniel Cassidine standing there, and he is in his laboratory. He's something of a steampunk inventor, right? He's something of the sort of idea of this inventor who also mixes the arcane or the occult with it in a sort of steampunk fashion. I did this build a long time ago, and what I wanted was this sort of idea. As you can see it kind of coming online now as I start the video or start the game up. You know, these sort of arcs of energy and electricity coursing up and down these posts, right? And then he would use the, the like robot invention thing from Get to Work, shrunk way down. Whoops, see the columns disappearing. Shrunk way down in order to give the impression that he's reading out of this book, right? And he's reciting these sort of arcane sort of spells and stuff that mix with science and technology and create things with it, right? So that's kind of the idea. Now, one thing I have never liked about this, back when I made it, we didn't have a lot to work with, and I did the best I could using these columns is to kind of act as a sort of post for the electricity to course up and down, right? So let me see here. So as we move in, you can see that the posts, the columns disappear, and it kind of reveals the mechanics behind it. Another thing I never liked was this is as small as I could get that inventing device. I forget what it's called, but the robot there, that's as small as I could get it. So now with Tool Mod, I can get it quite a bit smaller. In fact, we're going to do that first. We're going to actually shrink it down to just 1/10 of its size. Like so, right? So it's much, much smaller. It'll be a lot easier for us to hide. And then it becomes a lot less evident what exactly Daniel there is doing with that book, with that sort of magical book, right? Now, we still have the issue of when I zoom in, like this, to kind of play the game or kind of work with them, the columns completely disappear, and it really does kind of ruin the effect. It's not as bad over here. I've got another one over here, kind of an auxiliary setup. It's not as bad over there because we do have these sort of tanks, these steampunk looking tanks that do help create an industrial mechanical look. But over here it's pretty much ruined. So the idea is today we are going to change this so that when those columns, we're not going to use the columns anymore. Not when the columns disappear, because we're not going to use the columns anymore. We're going to take them out completely. We're going to replace them. We have a lot of new items, and I really got to thinking about this when the wedding pack came out. I'm going to pull up the items here that I particularly want to use. We're also going to need to turn on a few cheats here real quick. Particularly move objects, on. Oh, it's already on. It was already on for us. Okay, let's turn it back on. Okay, move objects on. And then we're also going to turn on the ignore gameplay. sheet so that we have access to all of the different items that we may want to use. We will also turn on the Show Hidden Objects sheet. Again, that's going to show a whole lot of different items that we don't normally get to see. And just in case, I'm not planning on going into debug, but just in case we do, we're also going to turn on Show Live Edit Objects. That will give us access to all of the items that pop up in the inventory, the build inventory, when you type in the word debug, right? So when you go over here and you search debug like so, and you hit debug, and it pulls up like basically everything that they built the world out of, all of the background objects, all the things that we don't normally have to build with. So let's first though, let's filter this by the wedding pack. I want to take a look here. I know particularly what I'm looking for in this case. Let's do this. It is a light fixture in the shape of dragons, right? Like this here. Okay, we're going to use that, and we're going to use it in this size, and we're going to use it in that size, right? We're going to use it in both sizes. When I first saw those, that's when I really started to think about retooling Daniel's laboratory. And I especially need to do it now because I'm going to use this as a primary set in the 5th episode of my RM Cascadian current series, Growing Together, right? Something I've been working on. Hopefully it'll be up this weekend, but I need to retool this set for that. So we're going to take out everything we're no longer going to use. Like these particular pieces were only there to cover that stutter, right? The stutter from those columns being merged together. So we don't need them any longer. We are not going to use the columns any longer. Let's take that out, take that out, take that out, take that out. And that's basically what we're left with. We're left with what we see when we kind of zoom in, right? We'll also take these away. They're also, not needed. Do the same over here. Now, I need a sort of brace, right? A sort of support, though, for these light fixtures, right? What did I do? I think I took away too much, you guys. Let me go back here. Let me keep that. Let me just go here and take away just that, right? Right. So everything else should be in place like it's supposed to be. I need a sort of brace, though. We're going to put this here, by the way, and we're going to put this like right here. So I need a sort of brace to give it more of an industrial feel and look, okay? Instead of just this sort of Asian feel to it, this arcane sort of feel, we do want to blend some science in here and some technology because we have the two of those things coming together. That's the idea, right? Science and technology blended with the arcane occult to create, essentially magic, right? We might move this here as well. We're going to try moving this right about maybe here, maybe. I was not aware that there were two of those there. We don't need two of those there. Let's take that one out. And we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to leave that there. I'll tell you one thing I do know I'm going to do real quick. We could go ahead and put it into place. Is we're going to use the hover lamp. Let's pull it up here. It is going to go on top of this light fixture as such, right? And in fact, let me try making it small. Let's see how it looks just short. Yeah, maybe more like that. And center it here like so. So it looks kind of like up top to that lamp. I might go ahead and move it one more up like that, maybe. If it seems not exactly right, we can use the tool mod to adjust it. That doesn't seem too bad though. I think that's going to be okay. And I'll turn this on real quick just so you can have an idea of kind of where we're headed with that. Let's see. Let's turn that on. So when we turn the hover effect on, we're going to get the appearance of, you know, that plasma ball special effect kind of shooting out of this dragon's mouth, right? Kind of like, you know, kind of like encased in his mouth here. As though it is coming up out of this lantern, right? Coming up out of the lantern and kind of catching in his mouth like a ball, like so, right? I'm going to have to move that up one more again. I'm just trying to get this exactly perfect here. Whoops. Not like that. Let's do this here. I want it to be exactly centered here. Okay, there we go. So we're going to have, is that good enough? I don't know. For now, it's good enough. I'm going to call it good for the moment. Like I said, I might use the tool mod here in a little while to adjust that a little bit, maybe. This here, I'm not sure about. I have it right there right now, but I guess we could move it back here. Maybe shrink it down a little bit. And I'm going to recolor it. Whoops, no, not the dragon. I'm going to recolor the light fixture here. So it looks a little bit there like a black pearl kind of in the middle of the dragon, and then the electricity will kind of spark up, you know, the pole he's wrapped around here. Let's move this over here. Now, one thing though I'm thinking of right at the moment is I want to be able to see it even when I just have the first floor, you know, when I don't have a double height. So one thing we probably ought to do is let's raise it up from the first floor to right there. And then when we drop down, we can still see it that way. And our effect, you know, won't be dependent on having that second wall up. Okay, now let's go back down here though. Let's work some more on this area. We have our smaller dragon here. We're going to get a brace. We're going to put a brace in place. And we're going to need something to hide these special effect generators. They're kind of disco lights, I guess, but I use them as special effect generators. If you've ever used these, you know, eventually they'll start showing like a llama and a rabbit, right? Like the freezer bunny. I always kind of figured that was, you know, that's because you stared at it too long and it made you start hallucinating, right? So don't stare into the energy beams too long or you'll start hallucinating that you can see freezer bunnies and llamas. Let me find this. There's something here from, there it is. Something from the Get Famous pack. We can use this here. We might make it smaller, maybe. I don't know that we necessarily have to make it smaller. If we don't make it smaller, like that, we're going to leave it like that for now. We're going to change the color of that light fixture. So hopefully it'll kind of blend in a little bit more. I'm going to use one of these though in a smaller version here with this other side. And then I'll compare the two and see which I kind of like better. Right at the moment, I am not sure. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Change those to black as well. And then we're going to need another to light of the dragon here. Like that. Now we're also going to need, now that I think about it, we're going to need to move this and again levitate it up from the first floor. Again, because when I'm not using this 2-story view, I don't want to lose that special effect. Okay, there we go. Now it's still in place even when we're just on the first floor view. And I'm going to need to adjust it a little bit, but let's see here. Maybe a little bit here. Like so. This may be a little bit better. Now, we were looking for a brace, and I know that there's some items that we can use from Journey to Batu, everybody's favorite pack. Everybody loves Journey to Batu. I actually do love it a lot, and I think if you're into building and you're into building industrial and steampunk like I am a lot, you particularly do like it. There's a lot of pieces here that work, like this one. This is what I'm looking for right here. We're going to bring this here. It's even got kind of the right coloring, right? It kind of matches the coloring of these dragon lights. We're going to move it back one more like that. So it kind of looks like a dragon's kind of coming out from this part. And maybe this is, you know, braced here because these electrical arcs just get so strong and rumbly that they just kind of want to shake the place apart, right? Now, with that in place, let's take a look here real quick. We've got a big size and a little size. Let's go into live mode real quick and take a look and see what they both kind of look like running. One thing that's really cool is you can really tell that there are kind of flames here in the full-size version. On this side, there are flames. I think they blur a little bit more into this electrical arcing. And maybe it looks a little bit more like this is cooking that lantern, and whatever's inside the lantern is generating electricity from the heat. You know, there's all sorts of imagination we can kind of put into this, right? I'm not sure about this. Now that I look at it with the lights kind of coming out from the side, that's a little more iffy to me at the moment. I'm going to have to think on that one. Maybe we can tie something into it that, well, that will make it okay. I don't know. We'll see. With Journey to Batu, though, there was another sort of structural piece here, like a piece of equipment, right, that we could use as a structural kind of piece. Let's go down through this and see. I don't see it in that stuff. It is like a moisture evaporator or something. I guess I could just search for it. I think that's what it's called. Let's see here. This could be kind of cool. I'm going to set that out. We might use that. We might use that right here, maybe. Maybe. Let's leave that there for now, and then, you know, we'll kind of think about it. It doesn't come in any other colors, I guess. No. Okay, that's fine. We might use this too. In fact, the piece I was thinking about using, I was going to use down here to better disguise that piece of equipment, but that kind of works as well. We're going to keep it down here just in case. but I'm still going to look for the item I was actually looking for. One thing I thought about doing too is actually recentering all this stuff. As you can see right now, it's not centered with the windows. I might recenter it with the windows. We'll see. I'm not sure what my original thought was on that when I built the lab as it was. We could also use something like this under here, maybe. Nah. Maybe not. Let's see here. Aha, here's the one piece I was kind of thinking of, right? So we've got this thing here and these two colors. Maybe shrink it down quite a bit. Let's take a look at this here. So again, we're going to get a look of a little less high-tech industry and a little more kind of pipes and stuff industry. Pipes or steampunk or something like that. Now, the one thing I don't like, of course, is we have these lights, right? Because the lights don't shrink with the item. So that does create a little bit of a quandary for me. Does it matter if it doesn't shrink down? I don't know. I don't know if I like it or not. We're gonna look at it for a little while. We're gonna look at it and think about it. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at it and think about it while we continue building here. Now, one thing is, this is 25% of its usual size is what this is right now. I would like for it to be a little bit bigger. Not a lot bigger, but a little bit bigger. That's where the tool mod is going to come in handy, because when it comes to scaling things within the game, you have full size and then scaling smaller. You have 3/4 size, half size, 1/4 size. But with the tool mod, you can do basically anything from 0 to full size. And of course, you can make it much larger. Just like in the game, you can make it much, much larger. We're going to try making this 35% of its regular size, like that, see? And I do have to be careful here, because we do have to still be able to reach the actual light fixture. Okay, so we can turn it off there or on, and it's not nearly as noticeable. You know, again, it looks a lot more like it's a sort of piece together sort of item, right? Like a homemade shop, you know, sort of item. Not a professionally made thing, but a hobbyist. You know, like you would find with steampunk, a sort of hobbyist made device. Now we're gonna make this smaller real quick, simply because I want to see how does it look with that in place. It looks okay. It's got kind of a neat look here as well, which is not too bad. The reason why I'm looking at that is because it does occur to me, if we make this full size, right, and we make this one full size, I think they're going to overlap. See how they kind of bump into each other? And I don't know if I like that or not. I have not decided. Do I like it? I'm not sure. It's going to be another situation where it's like okay, but I don't know that I like it as much as maybe the small size. See if we take them both small like that. And I might change this to black. That looks a little bit more like one solid piece in that case. Actually, that's kind of interesting there. Let's take a look at that real quick. It provides something of a cap to that lantern, right? That's not too bad at that size. The bad thing would be, I'm not sure that we can actually reach. Yeah, we can't reach the light fixture to turn it on and off. So that's not probably going to work like that. Do. Let's see here. I hope I grabbed the right item there. No, I did not. Grab the wrong one. Let's undo that, and then let's just go in here and we'll pull it out here, and we'll just work on it out here, right? Make that 0.35% of its usual size as well. And then move it back into place like that. And we can still reach the light fixture in that case. Now, it isn't bad. I did really kind of like the look of it, you know, up here as well. That was pretty cool. But I think this will work okay for what we're wanting to do. Let's grab another one of these hover lamps. I don't think I can clone that, huh? So just look it up then. And we'll raise it all the way up here. Like so. In the old days, there is kind of a glitch in the old days. The Sims 4 has been around so long now, we can actually say things like in the old days. This wasn't all around him. It was over here, right? So it would be like it was in the middle of this. And I guess it's a glitch now where it shows up around the scientist instead of over this, you know, robot inventing device thing. I don't know. Seems kind of odd to me, but I guess that's the case, right? Let's turn it on real quick. So this is kind of the effect we're dealing with right now. We're going to have kind of, you know, all of these different sort of arcing electrical items kind of sparking, you know, a lot of very Frankenstein laboratory-esque type of things. I kind of forgot, didn't do this side with a light fixture, special effects fixture. Let's see. We can also look at I think I like this piece better. Let's put our laser light show in place. Like so. And then we're gonna, I don't know if I can copy this. Can I copy this? I don't think I can copy it. This like Star Wars thing here. What is it called? Ancient Sith Chalice. Like so. Actually, hold on just a second. Move this out of the way. Over here. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff going on here, right? There's a lot of action, a lot of movement, and again, a sort of arcane feeling to it, right? Daniel is reciting stuff from this ancient text that is causing these different pieces to react, and tied to the sort of steampunk equipment that he's built into it, create this electricity, and he will use it to develop different mechanical items, right? Now, we could add more to this. I don't know that we need to. I think it's probably okay. I mean, I thought about using this momentum conservator in some fashion, but I just don't know that there's any need to. And I'll tell you right now, one thing that is kind of cool with this piece here, this communications tower, it looks like the fire is coming off of the tower, right? So shrinking this down, putting the tower there, leaving that sort of, disco light thing in place, the special effects generator, that does all kind of work together pretty well now. So I'm pretty happy with it, how that's kind of turned out. And that is what we came to from where we came, right? Because we started with all of those columns that would disappear as we got closer. Even though it was a good look, it was a pretty simple look. It was a look from a time when we had a lot less in game to work with. And now with newer items, we can create a much more sort of elaborate looking device. We'll take that up 2 stories. This is what it looks like, with the full sort of laboratory effect. You can see all of this sort of activity going on. And that is what I needed to do for the upcoming scene for episode 5 of the Growing Together series that I've been working on. This is the full Cassidine estate. I actually may rebuild this to a large extent now. It has been around for a long time, and what I had to work with when I started it, it's worked well for given what I had to work with. But I think there's other places I'm going to go and kind of update and change stuff and create, like in here in the living area. You can definitely tell there was not a lot to work with. So I might go in and have to change a few things around. But for now, we have this. This is done. And I'm done with it. That's it for this live stream too. We're going to call it good. This was a pretty quick little look at this. If you've enjoyed it, please hit like, subscribe, and notify. We'll be working on more builds, and we're going to be touring another one of the fantasy saves later today over in Brindleton Bay, or Bewitchment Bay, as is known in the fantasy save file. This little Red Riding Sims fantasy save file. We're going to tour some more of that today. And in the meantime, as always, thank you for watching.